Hey there, everybody. How are we doing today?
Hey,
Welcome to episode number 301 of our button show. What does this button do?
aloha.
Aloha. Yeah, we have the right shirts on and everything. We tried the Lays, but no, never mind. But it's live from our residential ship here. We are on the Villa Vie Odyssey, and this is Tech Tips and Travel Tales. You betcha. Of Mexico. So, what do we have here? Look at that.
Okay, episode 301.
We're getting up there, aren't we? It's an educational show about smartphones, travel, and technology with us geeks on tour. Okay. So, we're on a ship and we are dependent on the satellites from Starlink for our internet. So if it cuts out while we're live, and it might, but I think it'll be okay. Be patient. It may come right back, but we are recording this whole thing, so it'll be available later on in case you want to watch it.
If perchance it cuts out, it will be recorded and come back later. Yeah,
And every once in a while there'll be a message from the bridge or something like that we can't turn
that's
off.
true. Yeah.
We had that happen. So we'll
But it's good today, and we are at port, so a lot of people are off the ship. It should be fine.
So we have all of their bandwidth. Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Jim, and here together with my wife Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And you have questions about your iPhone, your Android, technology, or the cloud, and how do you learn about the amazing devices that we have here?
Well, we are geeks,
Oh,
also
yeah.
known as propeller heads. But
Don't do that.
we are geeks who teach, and we think that the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we come up with this YouTube show and teach different tips about different parts of technology, mostly whatever we've been using recently. And all of our content, almost 15 years worth, is collected on our website, geeksontour.com.
And you all know how to get there. Okay, so Chris, where are we now?
Well, we just pulled into port this morning. We are in Honolulu.
Aloha.
Aloha. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Aloha. But for the last 8 days, we've been at sea, and then we got to show you a little bit about our last 3 ports in Mexico, which were just so fun. That picture on this current slide was taken this morning. That is looking out I think it's called the atrium part of the ship, and that is Diamond Head that we're looking at there. And if you want to see any of our pictures or know anything about what's going on, how we're doing, you just go to geeksontour.com and cruising. Let me show you that. So geeksontour.com, and then this button right here, Our Cruising Life, the purple one, the 4th one. And once you get there, there are links to anything you want to know about what we're doing. So our current location, just the pinpoint right there. We have 2 photo albums now. The original one, which was the beginnings, and then this is our current one. So I just click on the current photo album, and we'll see the most recent on top. So there's that one photo. Now this photo is thanks to Linda Barchman, and she's in the chat room right now, the live chat.
Hi, Linda.
She lives here in Honolulu, and we're going to see her tomorrow. And she took this picture of our ship coming in. I think that is just gorgeous. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, we showed this to a couple of folks on board, and they think it's a beautiful picture.
And that was our view at breakfast this morning. I'm tempted to ask, so what was your view at breakfast this morning?
It's not a competition, okay?
Yeah. Jim even got up for sunrise.
It was a beautiful sunrise this morning. I had to get up, and yeah.
I just took a picture from the room.
She wouldn't get out of bed.
Coming into Hawaii. Oh, and this was just so much fun.
Oh, yeah. We had progressive trivia, and these were all the teams that participated in there. I won't tell you where we ranked in there, but we did not win. How about that?
Well, we won one prize.
The consolation prize.
Yeah, meaning the last place. Okay.
But what a bunch of wonderful people.
It was
and
so much
it
fun.
was too much
We
fun.
played every day for 8 days.
Yeah, we're not going to do that on the way
No,
home.
no, that was a. So this is where we were, coming into Honolulu. And this was yesterday or so. But as I say, and then there was a coming into Hawaii party.
Oh, it was wonderful.
And the great thing, you don't have to drive home.
Yeah.
When you're ready to go to bed, you just walk down the stairs and go to bed.
Right. Beautiful.
Beautiful moon.
Yeah, that was from the bow. And here's Chris
Yeah.
dancing. She was doing hula.
And this was our view for 8 days.
We had a very nice crossing. It was very smooth. It was, I don't know, we didn't have much rain at all. It was just perfect.
It was gorgeous, but it was also weird. I don't know if I've never done a crossing before, so this is the furthest I've been from land. It was weird that there's no birds. You're just out there, and the navigation required to get us to these little specks of land that are out in the middle it's fascinating.
Fascinating.
But it worked. Okay, enough of that. On with the show.
Okay. But before that, we want to thank all of our premium members. You're the ones who make all of our work possible. If you want to call this work, this is... But yeah, a big thank you to our premium members. If you want to join Geeks on Tour, you can do that at geeksontour.com/join now.
We have any comments in the chat?
We would really appreciate it. I don't know yet. I'll have to go look.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
Or just sit there and wait for me. I don't care.
And our backstage pass is for our premium members. It's a way that we have private community and have a meeting with you all in a Zoom meeting. It'll happen right after the show, and you all should have the link. If you're a premium member, you have the link.
Okay. So let's see. Jolyn says it's only 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we're at a very different time than we normally are, so I expect that a lot of people who normally come won't be here. Happy to see our East Coast folks staying up till 8 o'clock.
Okay. Linda says we're going to the top of Diamond Head tomorrow on the hike, and she hopes it doesn't rain. Well,
Linda lives here, and she agreed to meet up with us and take us on a hike to Diamond Head.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. That's pretty early.
Yeah, well, West Coast isn't too bad.
No, West Coast, but some of these people.
But I don't see our
Dallas,
I don't
Fort
see
Worth.
that left from Germany here.
Yeah, I don't see Debbie here yet from Portugal either.
Yeah.
So I don't need a latest grace. Do you have any issues with the Samsung S21 Ultra, including working on your travels? What do you think?
No, I have the 25 Ultra now, but I had the 21. No problems. No, it's a great phone.
She's talking about considering replacing the Pixel 4a. That's a good idea. So I have the Pixel 9 Pro, but there's a 9a out that's really pretty good. That wouldn't be bad at all. Brenda, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Gail. Oh,
hi, Gail.
Up awfully early, aren't you?
It's late.
And late? Early.
It's 8 p.m.
Oh, okay. Judy's going to be coming on board.
Yeah, we'll be seeing Judy soon.
Yeah, she's in Pennsylvania now. Aloha.
Okay.
To Hawaii. Welcome, Spotty Rain. Well, you better fix that.
Hi, Jerry.
Wow. And Laverne, aloha.
Aloha.
So, Tech Tips, good to see you all. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping in. Lake Worth.
So we love talking about our travels. And
that's my sister. Hi,
hey,
Debbie.
Oh.
Very cool. What are you doing up so early? Late. Whatever.
Maurice.
Yeah, and Huey's here
Huey.
too. What a great Look at all these people.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much for stopping in. That's great.
You probably came to get some tips, though. So let's
get to it.
Let's go on with it. Tech tips and travel tales. Our first one. Whenever I'm traveling, I like to make a map of the travels. And now we're really traveling, so this map is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I want to show you how you can find our map. And I am going to add Hawaii to the map. So how do I do that? It's Google My Maps. It's underneath, the foundation is Google Maps, all the same data from Google Maps. But to make your own maps, it's Google My Maps. So you go to My Maps, you open your map or start a new one, find the points that you want to mark, add a marker, add a title, description, and photos. So let me show you. It's just browser-based. There are several ways to get there, but I like to go directly to mymaps.google.com. And here is our Geeks on World Tour map. I just open it. Here are all the markers I've put so far. I set them up as numbered. Markers, and I need to add one to Hawaii. Boy, it's just slowed down. You should be seeing the map underneath these markers. There we go. And I need to add Honolulu. So up in the search bar, I type Honolulu. Now, I could just add that marker to the map, but no. Number one, I want to put the marker exactly where we are. And number two, I don't like using their markers. I want my own because I add photos. Their marker has Google Maps photos on it. I don't want their photos, I want mine. So I find where we really are in Honolulu, which is where? We're at a port.
Zoom out a little bit. You might be able to see it. Because they're...
Sand Island, Honolulu, where is the port? I'll look for the cruise port. Pier 2, that's exactly where we are, is at Pier 2. But as I say, I want my own marker, so I just click right there and add the marker and say today is 6/1. That's my system. I like the title of the marker to include the date that we're here. 25. And now I want to add a photo. I'll add that photo from the ship. And then you have to save. Save a marker, but you don't have to save the overall map. Now, if I zoom out, and look at the whole map, you'll see that I now have a marker for Honolulu. Okay, so if you want to see this map, you can go to Geeks on Tour, to that cruising page, and one of those links will bring you to this map. And if you want to make your own map, There's a video, 692. Just go to Geeks on Tour and all videos, look for 692. So that's making custom maps with Google My Maps. Now, once again, about traveling the world, there are times when your cell phone is not going to know where you are because it doesn't have any cell towers to connect to.
That happened to us all the way across the ocean.
And here's a little video on that. Number 1. Hi, I'm Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and we live on a cruise ship. Right now, we're somewhere in the Pacific in between Mexico and Hawaii, and the captain just told us that we need to set our clocks back 1 hour. Now, if we're talking about a real clock, no problem. You just use the controls to set it back 1 hour. So instead of afternoon, it's only 20 after 11. But with electronic devices, phones, computers, tablets, it's different because they not only tell you what time it is right here, they can tell you any place in the world. So for example, on my Samsung phone, I have it showing me the time where I am, plus the time in Miami and in Honolulu. Now, if I just change the time, I want you to watch what happens. So it says that it's 4:23 in Miami. Now, the time settings are in your settings. This is an Android, Samsung, and under General Management, Date and Time. First of all, you have to take off. If you want to manually change your time, you have to take off the automatic date and time. And why do we have to do that? Because there are no cell towers out here in the ocean, or there are plenty of places in the world where there's not a cell tower in range, and that's generally where your phone gets its time and time zone from, is the cell towers. So you have to turn that off. And now, if I just set the time to be 11:24 and done, now when I go out and look at Miami time, it says it's 3:24. And what is it really? It's 4:24 in Miami right now. I hope you agree that by me moving into a different time zone, that does not change the time in Miami. So you don't do that. The way phones and all electronic devices calculate the time is by one time that is set by the base time in Greenwich, England, and then what they call an offset, either plus hours or minus hours, depending on the time zone, 24 of them around the world. So let me show you the right way to change the time on your phone. Settings, General, and Date and Time. And I do want automatic time. I just do not want automatic time zone. And here are the time zones. You tap on that to see your choices. And I'm showing the Samsung first because I like the way it does it. It doesn't give you the name of the time zone. It gives you the offset. So GMT means Greenwich Mean Time, and then you either add or subtract hours. Now, if you don't know what you're in, you can just look at the time over here. So I know that instead of 12:25, it's supposed to be 11:25. That means I am in the -9 GMT offset. UTC stands for Universal Time Coordinated, which includes the Greenwich and the offset. So now, if I go back out to my home screen, it tells me that it is 11:26 here, and it's 4:26 in Miami. That is correct. So that's how you do it. You just change the time zone. Now let me show you On a Pixel phone, which is also Android, but it's slightly different in its settings, you go into Settings and System and Date and Time. Now, the time is okay, but once again, you need to make sure that Automatic Time Zone is off. And it's telling me that we are currently in GMT -8, which happens to be Alaska Daylight Time. If I tap on here and time zone, I want it to go to 11:27. That is GMT -9, and it's telling me that that's a place called ADAC. Remember that? It'll be important when we get to the iPhone. So that is how you change just the time zone on a Pixel phone. Last, I want to show you the iPhone. Settings, General, and Date and Time. No, you don't want it set automatically. You need to have it taken off. But no, you don't want to change the time. Now, on the iPhone, you only get the city. So you have to know, which is why I thought it was helpful to do this Pixel first. You might have to Google for what city is in my time zone or something like that. But what we learned that it's ADAC. So you choose ADAC, and the iPhone now says it's 11:29. So if you ever find yourself with no cell towers anywhere around you and you need to change the time on your phone, that's how to do it. I'm Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour. Makes so much sense once you figure it out, but to start with, it wasn't easy to figure out. Another thing that happens when you are out of cell range is battery usage. Even if you don't care, well, okay, I know that I'm not going to get any cell service, but your phone doesn't know that. Your phone keeps looking, and that drains its battery. So if you have issues like this screenshot here, the battery drained from 100% to 0 overnight, even though the screen hadn't been on, there was no activity. The culprit was the fact that there was no cell coverage. The phone used 92% of battery for cells trying to find a cell signal that didn't exist. So the solution is to turn off cellular data. Or you can just use airplane mode, but I want to demonstrate. So on iPhone, you go into Settings, and it's real clear here. There's cellular, and you turn it off. I have mine off, so it's usually on, and you would just turn it off. Now it will stop looking for a cell tower, and it won't use your battery. Now, why do I not just say go into airplane mode? Airplane mode is fine, and it will turn your cell service off. But depending on your settings, it may also turn your Wi-Fi off. So you just need to be aware of that and turn your Wi-Fi back on, and cellular will be off. And on Android, it's same idea. You go into Settings and Connections, and data usage is where it's at here, and mobile data, turn it off. You won't be able to use any apps that require internet unless you use Wi-Fi. Okay, no problem. And same thing, if that is on, then going into airplane mode will turn it off, but just watch and make sure it doesn't also turn off your Wi-Fi. And that's just another setting in there. So conserve battery by turning off cellular. Good cough.
Any questions? I don't see any questions.
Okay.
Somebody had some problems with the sound, but oh, here's a nice one. Claire likes your pics and videos.
Hi, Claire.
Good to see
deal.
you.
Good deal.
All right, but if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll try and get to them.
Next, this is just something, I mean, I've never used a VPN, virtual private network, but a lot of people on the ship do. And what do you think about that, Jim?
I think that they don't really need to do it in most cases. A VPN is out there for particular uses, but they, if it can slow you down. If they have all sorts of problems, there are free ones out there that may not be secure. Some countries will limit them, and you could jeopardize your security if you use it, and they use more bandwidth. So all kinds of reasons not to use it. But go to the next.
They use more bandwidth too, in
Right,
addition to
because
speed. Huh?
right, because what it does is it encrypts your signal from your device to the VPN, wherever that happens to be. Big VPN companies have VPN servers all over the world, and that makes it look like that you're coming from some place where you aren't. And that can come in very handy for certain things. A lot of people use it to watch Netflix or YouTube videos in places where those might not be restricted. So that's a good reason to use them.
Tell the story of the person you talked to.
Oh yeah, on board I was having lunch with a nice woman, resident here on board, and she was complaining about the speeds on her cell phone. So I asked her all the normal things: have you rebooted? Have you done this, that? And I came up with the idea, do you have a VPN? And she said, yeah, I have a VPN. I was told that I needed it for security. I said, well, just try turning it off. You probably don't need it. And she turned it off, and her speeds went right up. Her web pages loaded right away. Things were great. Now, they do have some reasons, and corporate workers will need a tunnel to their corporate servers. But for most people, not so much. It hides your IP address if you're worried about that. If you don't trust your internet service provider, you can use it for that. But, for most of us, we really don't need that level of protection. Your banks are going to be protected by the encryption with an HTTPS. So those are the things. When you were told that it was a problem with security and you had to have them in a public Wi-Fi hotspot, we've done our banking and hotspots all over the world without that, because HTTPS, the S stands for security, and now they're almost everywhere. It's definitely going to be on your bank or financial institutions, so you don't have to worry about it. If you're at home, it's generally unnecessarily, unless you don't trust your ISP or wherever you're connecting. Now, there are some legitimate reasons, but for the most part, to do normal things like your banking and that sort of things, you don't need it. Sometimes you might need one, but you really do know when you do. If it's not working, and a VPN will help you there, but you don't need to leave it on all the time. How's that?
Okay. And there's a couple comments there. Elva says Netflix blocks VPN.
Oh, well, okay.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah, they certainly can, and using a VPN is against their terms of service. So they can turn you off. I have not heard of it actually blocking, but yeah. So Linda says she thinks she has a VPN turned on. How do I find and turn it off? It'll be in your settings, somewhere in your network settings. Not sure. They're all a little bit different. There are some really good ones and some ones that are fast, but most of them, not so much.
But we'll be seeing Linda tomorrow, so maybe we
We'll
can
take.
help and maybe we'll learn something because, as I say, we don't use
Can you
VPNs.
show us how to adjust the time in Google Calendar when booking an appointment in another time zone?
That was last episode.
And we have
Yes,
videos on
yes,
that.
we
So
definitely have
absolutely.
videos on Google Calendar and time zones. There are a couple really cool tricks. Go watch episode 300, I think it
Okay.
was.
Bill wants to know if our ship has restrictions for movies at sea since you're not in the country. Well, that's where these VPNs might be coming on. A lot of people have Fire Sticks on their TVs in their rooms, and they get around that in different ways. Sometimes it's not a problem. There's a big library of movies already on the ship, so you can watch those. But these folks that are using them on the Fire Sticks and the other connectivity things, they're using a lot of bandwidth. They're using, and if they're using it through a VPN, they're using extra bandwidth, and they don't realize it. But
I,
sometimes
I
it's the
am
only way to get
assuming
it.
I am assuming that we will need a VPN at some time because something we want to do won't be allowed where we are.
Right.
So we need it to pretend that we're somewhere else. But I don't see any other reason to use it.
Not yet. And we trust our internet service providers
Yeah.
here. So
Okay. So we've never taught VPNs and because we really don't know enough about them, but wanted to say a few words.
because of that. All right.
So what do you want to do with your devices when you are offline? Read a book. And I love reading my Kindle books on my phone. Some people say, no, 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 no. You need to have a Kindle. Well, try it. Try it. And
I have a Kindle. I don't use it.
because you always have your phone with you. So anytime you want to just plop down somewhere and read a book, you have it. We have a little video to show you the value, I think, in reading Kindle books on your phone.
Is that number 2?
Hi, this is Chris Gold with Geeks on Tour, and I want to show you just a little bit about how using the Kindle app works. This happens to be on an iPhone, but it works about the same on an Android. So I'm talking about that app right there, Kindle. And any Kindle books that you have purchased through Amazon will show up when you open your Kindle app. I can see all of the books that I've ever purchased, or I can see just the ones that are downloaded on this device. To read a book, you just tap it to open it, and then you can turn the pages just by swiping that way or swiping back the other way. Or if you get a little bit of practice, you can even do it with one hand because it's just tapping on that right margin there that turns the page. Pretty cool. And when you're done, you can just go back home and notice when I go back into Kindle, it takes me to the exact same place that I left off. What if you say, I'm not sure that this is readable for me? There are so many options for changing the text. You just tap on it, and now you see all the different options on the screen, and I'm going to tap on the AA. I can change the brightness, depending if I'm out in the bright sunlight or I'm in a dark room. I can change it to be a black background with white text. I can make the text larger by tapping that. Or if your eyes are really good and you don't want to have to turn the page so much, you can make the text really small. I don't think so. So make that up. I like it about there. If you don't like the black on white or the white on black, they even have a couple more choices. There's sepia, which is black on and that is pretty easy on the eyes, or even a green color. Now let's say I want to look at someplace else in the book. You tap and you can tap on the 3-line menu, and here are all the table of contents. So if I know it's something in chapter 7 I want to go to, there I am in Chapter 7. You can also highlight passages just by touch and drag. I have now highlighted that. And if I want to see everything I've highlighted, it's that item right there. So these are, I have already read this book and I highlighted lots of stuff in here. So if I wanted to go back and find something that I enjoyed in the book, I can find the highlight, go right to it. And that's just a little bit about using the Kindle app on a smartphone.
And so just to reiterate, if you have downloaded the book when you did have an internet connection, then you can read it without any connectivity at all. I think that is just very, very handy. Try it. Google Photos turns 10 years old this week.
You're getting old.
I remember introducing Google Photos back in episode 42 of this show in June of 2015. We have just a tiny little clip to prove it.
I realize that this is the announcement that was only 2 weeks ago. Google Photos is new from Google. It is the third reincarnation of what started out as Picasa web albums. Then it was Google Plus Photos. Now it's Google Photos. And it was just announced 2 weeks ago. And yet I have become obsessed.
Yeah.
I love Google Photos. It's so much fun to play with.
But
And then, so that was in June of 2015, I started using Google Photos, and it didn't take me long to jump onto the Google forums and start answering questions, and I became a product expert and worked my way up so that now I am a diamond level product expert. Now, for the 10th birthday, they've announced 2 new features. Sharing an album with a QR code. Now that's Android only, and I'm going to show you that. The other new feature is conversational editing. It's not available to show you yet, but as soon as it is, I will. So what's this about sharing an album with a QR code? It's Android only, so let me show you with my Samsung. Here's Google Photos. Here is an album. Now, how did I get to that album? You go to Collections and Albums, and there's the album. Let's say there's somebody standing right beside me, and I want to share this album. I don't want to go through copying a link and sending them an email. I can just tap the Share button, which now is down at the bottom rather than the top. Share, and then Show QR code. And the person standing next to me can just scan that QR code. Voila, they have my album up on their phone. That's kind of cool.
That's
I like
very
that
cool.
one. I like that one. I think I'm going to like the conversational editing too, but we'll see when it comes out. So happy birthday, Google Photos. Now, before we made this crossing over to Hawaii, we were in Cabo San Lucas. That was our last port in Mexico. And we just got off the ship and walked around. It was a beautiful day. Cabo's a beautiful place. I immediately got out my phone and looked in Google Maps, say, well, where should we go? And
brewery.
This brewery just popped right out at me, the Baja Brewery. So I asked Google Maps to take me there with walking directions. Now, walking directions, when it's a flat map, can be hard to follow. So there's this little live mode button in the lower right, and when you click there and lift your phone up, you're seeing the scene in front of you with arrows saying, turn here. It works so nice, and we have a little video on that. walking directions. This is so cool. If you've never seen this, it just knocks your socks off. First of all, you know, with Google Maps, you can say, I want to go to Walmart, give me directions. And you're usually talking about driving directions. If you are, which we were in London last month for a couple of weeks. We don't know London. We did a lot of walking, and we used Google Maps for walking directions. Well, if you've ever used the walking directions, when you're looking at a flat map, it can be difficult to tell exactly where and which way you're supposed to turn because it depends on which way you're facing. So this particular feature is called Live View, and it actually, you raise your phone, you look through your camera at the live view in front of you, and it puts these arrows up. Now, there is one requirement, and that is you must have an active connection, an internet connection. When we were in London, I recorded the screen on my phone to show exactly how we used it. So we're walking and navigating around London, and let's say I'm not exactly clear where I'm supposed to turn right here. So I can tap on that live button, the lower left, and lift the phone. And now it's showing me exactly. I'm seeing the live scene in front of me. There's Jim walking. And there's the light, so it's telling me it's right here. That is live view while you're in walking directions. So that helped us get to the brewery.
Very important.
And
very,
it was really fun. Speaking of Cabo San Lucas and the brewery, we want to show you a little bit more about our last 3 ports in Mexico. And to do that, I'm going to take you to our blog. So you start at geeksontour.com and click on that Our Cruising Life. And then just scroll down, and here is the blog. So, sea lions, dolphins, and beers.
Oh my!
On Topolobampo. Now, this was so cool because it's a tiny little port. I don't know if they'd ever had a cruise ship there.
Yeah.
They definitely hadn't had one in several years. The whole town came out to greet us.
Sure seemed like it.
Rolled out the red carpet, and they had a mariachi band play for us. And then we took a little boat ride out to where there's a very friendly dolphin that wanted you to pet him. That was so cool. And blue-footed boobies. Then we went, the next port was La Paz. And let's show the little video on the La Paz. Oh, yeah. So first we took a boat ride, then hiked up this hill. What a view, eh?
Yeah, it really had it. It was phenomenal. Beautiful day. And then we went snorkeling. There's a Chris. And a pufferfish. And then we had lunch on the beach and more swimming.
Is that idyllic or what? Look at the color of that water.
It was beautiful. And then sea lions. And the water was kind of chilly.
Kind of chilly. It was freezing. And we did not wear wetsuits, but hey, I'll do it for that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And we got close to him. Watch this, right underneath Chris.
That's me. Yep.
That was so cool. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we get to do when we're doing this. All right.
Okay. And then the last stop in Mexico was Cabo San Lucas, where we were not at a pier. So we had to take a tender in, and on our way, we could see which room was ours because our little stuffed pelican is in the window there, so we could see our room. And Baja Brewing
Remember that.
is where we went, and they had some pretty good beers.
They were very good beers.
Yeah.
And some not as much to my taste, but they were good.
They have
Chris
a typical
drank all
thing.
of those beers.
They had a typical flight where you could taste all their beers, but the main thing is they had a view where you could see our ship out in the harbor there, Cabo San Lucas, and we brought a couple of beers home,
Of course.
and we bought a couple of T-shirts.
T-shirts cost as much as dinner.
Yeah. Oh, and walking around Cabo San Lucas, Jim can't go anywhere in the world without being stopped and comments on his mustache.
What mustache?
Yeah. Here we
Bigote.
found Bigote.
Bigote Sam is. Do you remember Yosemite Sam from the Looney Tunes? Well, in Mexico, he's Bigote Sam, or Sam Bigote.
Sam Bigote.
Sam
yeah.
Bigote. And so anyone that has one of these, so this is my brother from a different mother in Cabo.
It was just so fun. We are having a great time.
Questions. Here's one. Let's see. After you share an album with a QR code, what does that person have to do to save that link in their albums for future retrieval in their album list?
Well, just like if you get it with a link. I mean, whatever you did when you got the link to our album, the same thing when you open it up from a QR code. You know, there should be a join link, and you can do that
And save. So great info on the Kindle app. Thanks.
Good. I love it.
Yeah. And then Mike Ungerman says some places in the world have clandestine cell cloning, and what are as sophisticated as the CIA or NSA in interception of your traffic. That's why he uses a VPN. Now that's, like I said, there are legitimate reasons to use them. And if you don't trust the ISP, the information that's going across. But remember, once it gets past the VPN, then it's back to whatever it was before. So your VPN only goes from your device to the server that is the VPN. After that, it's just like it was somewhere else, but it's using the IP address of the VPN. So that's a security thing. Where'd we go?
I think we're done. Those are all my tips for today.
Okay, well, we invite you to sign up for the free newsletters at geeksontour.com news, or you can scan that QR code. That'll take you to the sign up page. And we're on YouTube. Please hit subscribe. And if you want to get notified, click on that bell, and then you know when things are happening for us. Okay, I think that's all the questions. Let's see. Well, did you learn something?
Oh, wait, there was one more there.
There was? No.
It's my first time here? Okay.
Where?
Are you planning to
At
go?
this game. It's first time you're just getting to know you two. Are you planning to live for a year or more on the ship? More. Yeah, we're planning on, we say 7 years. It goes around the world, a circumnavigation in 3.5 years. So we're definitely going to be on for that. And unless the ship sinks, we'll be on for a lot longer.
It is our home, so I mean, we're here for however long we want to.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, people ask how long you on. Well, we're on until we get off.
Until we don't want to anymore. It's our
Yeah.
only home. Our other house is sold.
We do have a RV still, but we'll probably sell that too. But did you learn something? Got some questions for you. When you change time zones, don't change the time, because that messes up A, the world times, B, your sleep stats, or C, your location.
A, the world times. Just change your time zone.
Yeah, the time doesn't change anywhere else, just for you. We create custom maps using A, MapQuest, B, Google Maps, or C, Google My Maps.
C, Google My Maps. And we have a full set of tutorial videos on our
And
website.
it is so cool. Live View shows you your actual surroundings while using Google Maps. In what mode? A, driving directions, B, walking directions, or C, transit directions?
B, walking directions. And it's, so useful.
True or false, it's essential that you use a VPN when traveling. I say no, it's not essential, but it can have its uses. It also has some downside to it. So depending on where you are and how you're traveling and how you're connecting to the internet, you may not need it. You certainly don't need it to do your banking. It's just double encryption, and that'll slow you down and use more bandwidth. So what's the name of the brewery in Cabo San Lucas? Let's see, does anybody know?
Yeah, put in chat. What was the name of the brewery?
Let's see. Nobody's answered.
Yeah.
Keep going. It was the Baja.
I don't think I'll get the answer.
Okay. Let him go back and watch.
Oh, you can. You can.
Baja Brewery. All right, I'm reminding our premium members, those who have paid to be in our membership at Geeks on Tour, there's a backstage pass. It's an online meeting using Zoom, so we'll be there in a few minutes. We usually go on at the top of the hour, so in a couple of minutes, I'll set that all up. You get the link from geeksontour.com. Click on member login. After logging in, you scroll down and you see the backstage pass, and that's the way to find us. So, Chris, what's the web page that lists all of our YouTube shows?
Geeksontour.com. Just click the menu item called YouTube Shows, and under What Does This Button Do, you'll see all 301 episodes.
Okay. What's the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters, and one's due soon?
Yeah, I got to work on that today, actually.
Oh, no.
Geeksontour.com. The menu item is blogs and news. Oh, some people did answer. Very good.
Well, their sister forgot. Fun stuff. Okay. Why do people pay $58 a year to join Geeks on Tour?
Well, there are lots of benefits. Asking us questions in the Q&A, the backstage pass, private Zoom meetings, hundreds of Show Me videos and ebooks. Well, not hundreds of ebooks, but you get the ebook of my Google Photos book if you are a member, and to get written notes from these button shows. And some people join just to say thank you for all that we do for free.
And we really appreciate you. So join Geeks on Tour, premium membership, geeksontour.com/join now. All right, become a member. I just said that.
$58 a year.
It's a deal. So I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we are Geeks on Tour. And we will see you next time.
Somewhere in the world.
Be safe.